Imagine waking up tomorrow and the temperature outside is minus 20 degrees Celsius. Your house is gone. Your warm clothes are gone. Your food is gone. And winter has just begun. For most animals, that situation ends one way, death. But around 70,000 years ago, humans began moving into regions their ancestors had never truly lived in before. Places where the air hurt to breathe, where rivers turned solid, where the landscape itself seemed designed to kill you. And that raises a fascinating question. How did ancient humans survive their first winter? Because unlike mammoths, they had no thick fur. Unlike bears, they couldn't hibernate. And unlike wolves, they weren't built for the cold. Yet somehow, they survived. Not only that, they eventually spread across some of the coldest places on Earth. The answer is one of the greatest survival stories in human history, and it begins with a mistake. For a long time, scientists assumed early humans simply avoided cold environments. The idea seemed reasonable. Humans evolved in Africa. Africa is warm. Therefore, humans should have stayed where conditions were comfortable. But archaeology told a different story. Researchers kept finding human remains farther and farther north. Russia, Germany, France, even regions that experienced brutally cold winters during the Ice Age. The evidence was clear. Humans weren't avoiding winter. They were facing it and somehow winning. But the first challenge wasn't temperature, it was timing. Imagine you've lived your entire life in a warm environment. You know when fruit grows, you know where animals gather, you know where water can be found. Then, suddenly, everything changes. Plants disappear, animals migrate, water freezes, the landscape becomes unrecognizable. Winter wasn't just cold, it was confusing. Ancient humans had to learn an entirely new set of survival rules, and making a mistake could be fatal. A hunter who wandered too far might never find his way back. A family that failed to prepare enough food could starve before spring. This wasn't a seasonal inconvenience. It was an annual survival test. And that's where humans revealed their greatest advantage: planning. Most animals respond to problems after they happen. Humans prepare before they happen. Archaeologists studying Ice Age camps discovered evidence that ancient humans were gathering resources months before winter arrived. They weren't reacting to winter, they were preparing for it. Food was dried, tools were repaired, firewood was collected, shelters were reinforced. Long before the first snowfall arrived, the work had already begun. But preparation alone wasn't enough, because winter created another problem: warmth. The average modern home maintains a temperature around 20 degrees Celsius. Ice Age winters could fall far below minus 20 degrees Celsius. In some regions, temperatures may have reached minus 40 degrees Celsius. At those temperatures, exposed skin can freeze in minutes. So how did people stay alive? The answer surprised archaeologists. For years, caves dominated popular images of prehistoric life. The classic picture shows humans huddled deep inside a cave around a small fire. But many ancient humans didn't live in caves at all. They built shelters, and some of them were remarkably sophisticated. In Ukraine, archaeologists discovered structures built from mammoth bones. Not a few bones, hundreds of them. Massive skulls formed foundations. Tusks created curved supports. Animal hides covered the exterior. Together, they formed insulated homes capable of trapping heat. Experimental reconstructions suggest these shelters performed surprisingly well. In some cases, temperatures inside remained dramatically warmer than the freezing environment outside. And that wasn't the only innovation. Humans also learned something modern engineers understand very well: layers matter. Animal hides trapped warm air. Grass and moss added insulation. Additional coverings blocked wind. The same principle used in modern winter jackets was being applied tens of thousands of years ago. But shelters created another challenge: fire. Most people think of fire as simple: find wood, light it, stay warm. But maintaining a fire through an Ice Age winter was a matter of life and death. If a fire went out during a storm, relighting it could be extremely difficult. So ancient humans treated fire differently. It wasn't just a source of heat. It was a survival system. Archaeological evidence suggests some groups carefully managed fuel supplies throughout winter. Wood was stored. Alternative fuels were collected. Every piece of fuel represented future warmth, and warmth meant survival. Yet even with shelter and fire, another threat remained: food. Winter transforms the natural world. Plants disappear. Game becomes harder to find. Energy demands increase. The body burns more calories simply staying warm. This created a dangerous equation. Ancient humans needed more food precisely when food became harder to obtain. So they adapted. Some groups developed food storage systems. Others focused on hunting large animals capable of feeding many people at once. A successful mammoth hunt could provide enormous quantities of meat, not just for days, potentially for months. And frozen environments offered an unexpected advantage. Nature became a refrigerator. Cold temperatures helped preserve food far longer than would be possible during warmer seasons. For the first time, winter itself became part of the survival strategy. But perhaps the most important adaptation wasn't physical, it was social. Imagine trying to survive an Ice Age winter alone, gathering food, maintaining shelter, protecting yourself from predators, keeping a fire alive. The workload would be overwhelming. Now imagine 20 people working together. One gathers fuel, another repairs shelter, others hunt. Knowledge is shared, responsibilities are divided. The challenge becomes manageable. Again and again, archaeology points toward the same conclusion. Humans survived because they cooperated. And winter may have made cooperation more important than ever before, because winter punished isolation. Groups survived, loners often didn't. But there was another ancient human species facing the same challenge: Neanderthals. For hundreds of thousands of years, Neanderthals thrived in cold environments across Europe and Western Asia. In many ways, they were already cold weather specialists. Their bodies were stockier, their limbs were shorter. Both traits helped conserve heat. Some researchers believe Neanderthals were among the best cold weather survivors humanity has ever produced. And when modern humans entered these environments, they likely encountered knowledge systems that had already been refined over countless winters. The story of winter survival isn't the story of one species. It's the story of generations of humans learning from experience. Each winter taught lessons: which shelters worked, which clothing worked, which hunting strategies worked. The knowledge accumulated, and unlike animal instincts, human knowledge could be passed directly to the next generation. A child didn't need to learn every lesson from scratch. They inherited thousands of years of survival experience. That changed everything, because knowledge grows, and over time, humans became so effective at surviving winter that they spread into places that seem almost impossible. Siberia, the Arctic, regions where winter dominates much of the year. What began as a terrifying challenge eventually became another problem to solve, and that may be the most remarkable part of the story. Winter wasn't supposed to be survivable for a nearly hairless ape from Africa. Nothing about human biology suggested we should thrive in frozen landscapes, but humans possess something unusual. When the environment creates a problem, we create a solution. When the solution creates a new problem, we solve that too, again and again. Go back to that first winter. Imagine standing in the snow as temperatures plunge below freezing. You don't know if spring will come soon enough. You don't know if your food will last. You don't know if your shelter will survive the storm. But somehow your group makes it through. Then the next winter, and the next, and the next. Every warm home, every winter coat, every heated room you enjoy today traces its origins back to those ancient survivors. People who faced winter without modern technology, people who refused to freeze, and people who proved that humanity's greatest survival tool was never fur, strength, or speed. It was the ability to learn, adapt, and work together.